Hey everybody, it's me, Serene, and welcome to Serene Speaks. And I am your host, Serene, and this is my ministry channel where it's all things God, all things women, and sometimes a little bit about me. And I am reading from 100 Days of Believing Bigger by Marshawn Evans Daniel, and we are on day 56, and we're talking about blessing blockers. We are on day 57 and distractions. So this one's going to be good. Real good. Ready? Distraction. Look straight ahead and fix your eyes on what lies before you. Proverbs 4:25. It says, focus is probably the most important skill you need to enter a big, built-in God future. Fear is a master of distraction. Distraction is the most effective weapon in fear's arsenal. Ever wonder why it's easy to finish insignificant things, but you procrastinate when it comes to your bigger dreams and desires? Distractions are a doozy, and they sure are. Dr. Fred Jones says distractions are the death of your dreams happening in slow motion, and distractions are intentional, a stealth form of resistance designed to block your bigger. The key is to making a shift is to pay attention to truly what the important things and to learn what and who to ignore. The greater the significance, the greater the resistance. And the more susceptible we are to self-sabotage. Let me read it again. The greater the significance, the greater the resistance. And the more susceptible we are to self-sabotage, doubt, and succumbing to distractions. Even opportunities can be in a distraction disguised as destiny. Not everything that looks good is necessarily to God. When you're in a shift, it's especially key to be on the lookout for distractions, but they will be coming. When you get new opportunities, new ideas, and new invitations, ask whether these are in an alignment with what you feel is God's new vision. What distractions usually take you off course? Okay, so this one was a good one because I just had an incident about this. But many of you, if you have not followed me on my channel, my financial coaching channel, Prophetess Serene, you should. Because I just completed 30 days of a 30-day prayer challenge that God ordered me to do. Well, he didn't order me, he asked me to do. God never orders, he gently nudges and asks, right? To do for the month of September in alignment this is October. So in alignment with what's happening spiritually and in the natural. Okay. But you have to watch all those videos to know what's going on, right? So a few days ago, I got I saw a post from my cousin-in-law, and she was like, "Hey, you want an opportunity to make some money?" Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Sure," and I signed up. And so someone else reached out to me, and she was like, "Hey, I saw that you wanted to connect. Da 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 da. Let's meet." And right off the bat, immediately, I was like, I instantly regretted doing this, right? But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it, right? So she was like, well, I was like, I'm going to meet you. She said, we can meet on Friday at 5. I was like, cool, bet. Then, right before my meeting with her, which I completely forgot, a friend of mine calls me and I stayed with her for an hour. And I was like, oh, shoot, I missed my meeting. It was like God purposely interrupted the meeting, right? I was like, I'm not supposed to take this meeting. I knew I wasn't supposed to take this meeting. So then she emails me again and she was like, can we set up a time? I was like, sure, why not? And then I was working yesterday and I heard the Holy Ghost say, do not take that meeting. I said, okay, cool. And I immediately messaged her back. He said, you know what? I said, I don't think your business model or whatever you're doing doesn't align with my purpose and my destiny and the God had for my life. It's a distraction because that's what I told her. And honey child, the email I got, the message I got back, I I sorely offended her by saying that what she did was an alignment. She's like, you don't even know what we do. I'm like, boo, nor do I want to at this point. And she was like, well, and then she proceeds to give me this message. My point being is God will save you from distractions. This is where There's bad and good, and then there's good in God. And sometimes we can distinguish between what's bad and what's good, but we can barely really distinguish or discern the difference between good and God. And we have to be a people that are discerning what's the difference between those two. What was seemingly a good opportunity for me actually would have been a distraction from God. And a lot of times we get into things that we think are good, which are actually distractions to God, but we never ask God. And what they do is they derail us off our original to end destiny. How many of you know that you will enter into a relationship with someone of the opposite sex, and that relationship is a distraction that sets you off, sets you back 10 years? How many relationships have you wasted in time with people who were assignment from the enemy, but because they were good in that relationship, they weren't God? We have to learn to be a people who operate and move in discernment, with the difference between good and God. Like, so don't let distractions stop you from your bigger. And distractions can be anywhere from spending, like one of my biggest distractions I'm starting to notice now is I play this game, and I'm gonna have to delete the game. One of the games God made me delete off my app, to delete the game. I said, now I'm finding myself spending hours playing this game. It's a distraction. Hours I could be using, spending studying, worshiping, sitting with God, developing a plan, working on something. And my justification for that distraction is, well, because I've done everything God told me to do. And the truth be told, have I always done everything God told me to do? No. So I don't, like when we can binge and watch Netflix, that's a distraction for most of us. I said, because we want to take our mind off of what's going on around us. And I understand that, but we cannot allow what we're going through um act as we can't allow, how do I say it? We can't allow Netflix or Hulu or games we play on our phones, social media, to distract, to be the substitute for God. That's what it is. Be the substitute for God. And sometimes she's right. We will do insignificant things and get those things done, and we won't do other things that God told us to do. And we find it hard to do, especially when it comes to bigger and believing. So I'm going to be mindful of where I put in place my time on everything that I do. So today's prayer is, Lord, give me the discipline to discern and delete anything that takes me off course of completion, calling, and character development. And that should be your prayer. You should be very keen on what your distractions are. And like, again, do a lot of self-reflection, introspection. You should be really looking at what's gobbling your time, to be honest. And because most distractions are time wasters. You know what I'm saying? So and how you handle certain, and I'm not a therapist, but you should be mindful of your mindfulness. Like, what do you do when you're worried or stressed out? Do you pray, or do you listen to worship music, or do you play mindless video games? Sometimes I have to decompress because of all the stuff I carry, but at the same time, I got to be mindful of how I decompress. It's not something that just eats me up and eats all my time. And before I know it, my day is gone and I haven't done nothing for God. So that's all I have for day 57. Join me for day 58. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.